Aiode gives you this mini digital audio workspace that allows you to work with AI models of real musicians, which is pretty cool. They currently have 5 musicians. These are real people, and they do get royalties from people who sign up to this software. I should also mention any tracks you do generate using Aiode are your own property. You won't owe royalties to anybody else or the musicians themselves. In terms of pricing, I'll go through that later once I've kind of described the software and what it actually does. But if you want to skip to that part, it is listed in the timestamps. But I think the best way to demonstrate what this does is to show you. And they currently now have a desktop app. This is the app specifically. You can import your own track, look through their demo tracks, which I highly recommend doing, or create completely from scratch using what is inside this. Now, I have already made a track, but just to kind of demonstrate how it works, if you want to import music, click that, and let's just pick a random track. It then uploads your track. You can add a track up to 150 megabytes, analyzes it so that the musicians all work in the same key. You do need to set your time signature and tempo. This is extremely important, so make sure that matches, otherwise it will not be in sync. And then you create project. Now, determining what plan you are on will determine how many musicians you can actually add. On the free plan, you can add 2 musicians. This is your current choice. You can see we've got a drummer and a pianist coming soon. Currently, we have a trumpet player, synth bass producer, e-bassist, and a beat maker and an e-guitarist. With the basic plan, you get up to 4 musicians, and then with the pro plan, you can have up to 8 musicians, which we technically don't have 8 musicians, but you can add the beat maker twice if you want to, and then you simply click add. And then it's pretty self-explanatory, in all honesty. You can see the little tips and highlights over there. You simply click and drag, and then click what sort of style you want. Let's go for rhythm. We'll then click generate. Now that's when these Muse tokens come into play. Every 1 Muse token is 1 minute of generation time. So you can see that is only 8 seconds of generation time taken. With the pro plan, you get 500 minutes. With the basic plan, 150 minutes. With the free plan, 25 minutes. And that renews every month. Now, in terms of pricing, obviously 25 minutes. The free plan is free. The basic is $10. The pro is $20 a month. And you can currently get, I believe, it's actually on the website. Currently, I do have a token for 33 days down in the description, but in all honesty, use this one, Summer Sale 2025. You can get 30 days free. Use that one first before you use my one. But I am an affiliate of Aiode. I do think this is a really cool project. Anyway, right, now that that's generated, this is actually how the original track sounds. Now let's listen to it with the added rhythm of this e-guitarist. Pretty cool, right? Now let me show you a project I've been working on recently where I feel this really comes in handy, especially if you've just got a couple of ideas or you've got a really nice piano part and you don't know what else to add. You've been tinkering around in your digital audio workspace for a while. You can export that track, import it into here, and then have a quick fiddle with some of these musician models. And let me just show you the raw track here. It's a very simple idea. Nice little guitar riff, and then the piano does come in about 6 bars in. Or 4 bars in, I think. So just a really simple sound. And then I thought, you know what, it could do with a really nice bass line at the beginning. Initially, this was actually lined up when I generated it, and it did this. But I thought, you know what, I kind of want it on the offbeat, so I just moved it ever so slightly and I got this, which I prefer, personally. And obviously I thought, need some drums, they've got a beat maker, let's see how that sounds. A little bit of count on the guitar. And a little bit of synth bass. Now, specifically with this bass, you can actually go into these instruments. You can regenerate, obviously, but you can go into them even further into the performance and actually pick what you want to do with it, how dynamic it is, how complex, any fills, the timbre of the sound envelope and style. I wanted it more modern, and I wanted to pull it back ever so slightly with the complexity. Obviously, you can tweak this to your liking, but I like the fact that you can go in and adjust it ever so slightly. If you worked within Logic with those AI sort of players, it's kind of similar, although I feel you've got more flexibility. Now, do bear in mind, this is a beta, so there might be some things that aren't quite right, but they are continually improving it, and as you can already see by the musicians in here, they're continuing to add more models. And I really like the fact that they are based on real people and that these people actually get paid as well and continual royalties. So it's an added income stream for these creators. Right, let's go back over here. Now you probably noticed there's a couple of different sort of styles you go for in terms of playing. So far I've got harmony, rhythm, ambience. I've not gone with melody because I've already got my melody in there. The free mode is very interesting, and this is something I generated just before I recorded this video actually, and it's kind of what prompted me to think, okay, it's time to record, because I thought this was really cool. The free one picks for itself really and listens to everything going on and then adds its own little flavor, and this is what it came up with here, which I thought was really cool. Let's solo it just so you can hear it, and then we'll mix it in the track. It's got a great sound, and then mix it in with the rest of the track. This is really cool harmonic line over the top. Just makes it a little bit more interesting and adds to what I have already created. Now, of course, if you wanted to go back into your digital audio workspace, say this inspired you, you can click this little, well, I say click this little button here, prepare audio, and you can now drag that specific track into your digital audio workspace. So you can now go back to Logic, Cubase, and keep working on that track. Say you're done in here. Obviously, you can export it as well with the Pro plan. With the free plan, you cannot. With the basic as well, you can. But you can export it, the whole track there. And it has a really cool sound. If you want to mix it more, there is a mixer back here. Obviously, it's not as complex as a digital audio workspace, but it gives you enough at the moment to do what you need to. And I find it a really cool medium where it's not those overly AI fake musicians. This is real musicians, but it just gives you that happy medium where you're still sitting in the creator's seat, working with real musicians. And even going back to the track, say you're not actually happy with something. If we go back to the performance mode, select whichever region you desire, change the region type to a different one there. You can try different takes, so a cue a new take there if you really wanted to, say you didn't like that at all, or if you really wanted to, you could go into it and actually scrub certain sections. So say I didn't like this end bit here, maybe I wanted it a bit more crazy, I can go in, line that up there and click generate, and then that will change that little bit there. Now that it's generated, you can see it's just changed that little bit back here, and if we really wanted to, we could flick back to that first take, and you can see that only change is there. You can generate the whole thing, but if we just now compare it, we'll just solo that track there. So that's the old one, this is the new one. But you can do the same with other instruments as well and get little different bits, especially if there's a little bit in a melody that doesn't sound quite right or doesn't quite work with your track. You can just highlight that little region and regenerate it to get a better sound. But overall, I was really impressed with how everything generated here, especially this little free bit here, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I wanted some melody, some harmony or something, and it was just really cool to see something like that. Now let's keep working on this track live so you can kind of see how this works. Click and drag for this beat region. We're just going to go for free actually, because I'm really enjoying how that is. I want more of my E bass, and I think this is a good time to have essentially everybody come back in. Drag that out. Let's go for rhythm. Why not have the trumpet come back in? We'll go for a harmony. I actually really want this to continue, so I'm going to drag that a little bit further. And then I'm really curious to see what this now generates. Now I feel it's important to mention as well, this does require an internet connection. I think the app itself was barely 15 megabytes. And so you will need an internet connection for all this to actually work. Right, now that that's all generated, let's just solo the music so you can hear my track before everything else. Nice complex section, bit of guitar, bit of piano. Alright, now that that's soloed, let's go back from here. I love that little slide there. It just adds a whole another layer, and of course you could go deeper into this if you really wanted. Maybe I just wanted shorts. Let's just do that instead. And I don't want the flugelhorn, I just want the trumpet. Let's go for a different take on that and see what happens. So I think the trumpet's the one I struggle the most with. Let's go for another take. Now you might have just noticed the screen recording might have suddenly jumped or changed. That's because this is still in beta. Throughout the recording of this video, the app itself has disconnected 3 times. I am connected via Ethernet. So they're still working out the kinks. This isn't a finished final product. And I want to be completely transparent about my experience with this. In all honesty, I found it's worked pretty smoothly. I do get the odd disconnect with the app. It does work within the browser. Originally it is a browser based product. If I actually flick back into my browser, you get a very similar experience and window, and in all honesty this is more stable, but that is because it's more fine tuned. But this is simply the browser, and if you actually log in on the website it will take you to this window. Anyway, that's just so I'm being transparent with you guys. Moving back in, this has fully generated. Let's go back into that and actually listen. So that's our original. Change it to take 2. Which I kind of like. Let's unsolo that, mix it in. I like that little fill, that's nice, but there you go, that's really cool, and I'm really liking where this is going. Again, early stages, but 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, where we have a full orchestra here. The last video I did on AI, I was saying one day we're going to be able to have a whole orchestra in front of us and be able to control the little details and be almost a conductor in the seat, orchestrating your own music. Is that where we are heading? This is really cool. Remember, it's early stages. I definitely recommend it's free to have a quick play around with and see what results you get. But please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.